lost an earring. Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to The Revolution. I'm your host, Megan Connor, and I'm going to do the briefest of brief recaps on day 3 of the Brian Walshe trial. I was fixing some technical difficulties just while that little 30-second thing was playing. Thanks for joining me today. I am a pretend juror. I don't know very much about the Brian Walshe case, so I came into this a little bit cold, but now that we are on day 3, I know probably, I don't know, more than I was expecting to find on day 3, although I do have to say, sometimes they start with the worst evidence against the defendant possible. And so far we've had those unhinged search histories from day 2. Hey there, Cat Lady, Smiling Jack 3, happy Friday. I know that court is still in session right now, but they've got a half day today, and I'm trying to catch up so that I can be watching it at the same time as everyone else, and then doing my midday and final day recaps. So I just have a little less than 15 minutes to try and do this recap, so I'm going to try to do it justice. If I can't get all the way through it for whatever reason, then I will probably just do a full recap a little bit later in the day because I have an appointment that's going to go all the way to the end of my day. So we started out day 3 with the cross-examination of Trooper Guarini continuing, and we were talking about all of that search history data that came in last time. And basically, the defense attorney was trying to say that there were a lot of duplicate records, which it's true that there are, but they also would have had the same date and timestamp because, again, we were talking about the MacBook syncing to the iPad mini, and that's the reason why there would be duplicate records of the same search history. The defense attorney noted that some of the searches were redirects, or some of the visits to websites were redirects, and not necessarily that the search was conducted and then they went to the website, but just that the website redirected to another similar website or website with similar content. Then he said that in all of those searches, there was no reference to Mr. Fasco, who is the boyfriend of Ana Walshe. There was no access to Ana Walshe's iMessages. He noted that the first search that was conducted at 4:52 a.m. on January 1st was not anything that was related to murder. Hey, Kiki, how you doing? In fact, the first search that referenced the word murder was not until 11:28 on the 1st. But one of the searches that the defense attorney pointed out that he wanted to call attention to was cool ways to be buried. So I don't know. The only thing I'm thinking to myself right now, the only thing that is going to clear up why this person was searching these things is if they get on the stand and testify, because we can't know their frame of mind. All we can know is that they visited these websites. And there's pretty much one reason to visit these websites. It's to learn this kind of information. So if someone is going to convince me that there was not a nefarious reason, it's going to have to be from the searcher themselves. That's all I'm saying, as a fake juror. Then the defense attorney noted that there was no tampering with the devices that had been turned over, and there was no deletion of the search history. Then he pointed out that the detective couldn't have known what was viewed when the person visited the Chase website. There could have been, research being done or transactions being made, but the bottom line is we know they were on the Chase site, but we don't know what they were doing on the Chase site. Then they wanted to point out that there were searches for diamond rings prior to the divorce searches. So it was like, it went in this order: diamonds, divorce, Porsches. That's how it went. So as I was looking at those searches yesterday and the timing of those, I was thinking to myself, it's like 20 minutes of unhinged divorce searches. And then right before that, searches for diamond rings. And so I'm just thinking to myself that if someone had discovered an affair, there might have been, an idea of like, well, maybe if I buy her a diamond ring, she will come back to me. And then forget that I'm angry at her, divorce, and then maybe if I also buy her a Porsche like she asked for, she might come back to me. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm putting together. But again, I can't speculate on that because I don't know for sure. And I'm just supposed to be a fake juror in this. And so I'm trying to, again, keep an open mind and just listen to the evidence that's been presented. So far, there's been no evidence of what the person's frame of mind is, which is why I said they would have to pretty much get the person on the stand to testify in order to convince me. Then the defense attorney pointed out that the first search related to divorce that was done was about Katie Holmes' divorce. So that was the first thing that was pulled up, and then the other divorce searches, and that the divorce searches covered only 20 minutes over the course of about 15 days. Then on the redirect, the prosecution did come back and say it wasn't just that one day. There was a divorce search on another day as well. And then there were no traditional laptops that were recovered that would have had a traditional hard drive that you could remove. All of the Apple devices, they are hardwired into the motherboard. So good to see you guys. Chats with Lori. I think I said hi to Smiling Jack already. Kiki, John Smith, good to see you guys. Thanks for joining me here for these recaps. And if you're joining on the replay, welcome, especially if you're new to the channel. Glad to have you. Take a second and subscribe. It's the best free way to support the channel. And I'm going to continue to be covering this case all the way through the end. And stick around for my deliberation. And then after that, my friend Kiki is going to come and live and reveal all the stuff that I am not allowed to see as a juror. So there's been a lot of stuff that I'm like, ooh, I want to research that. Nope, can't do it because I'm a juror. So I'm a fake juror. All right, then the third witness for the prosecution was William Foley, who is a U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent. And he testified that Ana Walshe traveled out of the country from November 3rd of 22 to December 7th of 22. And there were no other international travel records for her through 2025. So then the fourth witness was Patrick Reardon, who is a K-9 handler for the Cohassett Police Department. He testified to his January 5th search of the Walshe property, or at least the place they were living. There is a lovely picture of an aerial shot of the area, which I've got timestamps, but I'm not going to show any of that right now because I have a short amount of time and I want to get through as much of this as I can. He basically stated that he was there at 10:20 a.m. on the 5th, that it was cloudy and cool outside, and he and his dog Einstein searched the property for approximately 30 minutes and found no hits of human indicators in the area. So he searched all of the woods around the property, basically. Then the fifth witness for the prosecution was Tom Menino, who is with JetBlue Corporate Security. And he testified that Ana Walshe had tickets purchased. All these tickets were purchased on November 5th of 2022. She purchased tickets essentially to travel back and forth from Boston to Washington, D.C. on the weekend of January 3rd, January 13th, and January 23rd. And that all of those, and it was 2 tickets for each trip, one going out and one coming back. And he said that all of those tickets were no-shows for Ana Walshe. Then he showed a picture of all of the flights that JetBlue flew during the time of 12/23 through January 4th, and all the flights that went and were actually flown, and that Ana Walshe was not on any of those flights. Then the sixth witness for the prosecution was Greg Lawrence of the Cohassett Police Department. He's a patrol officer, and he went to the Walshe residence on the 4th of January for a well-being check at 11:44 a.m. Brian Walshe wanted to file a missing persons report. The officer said he was calm and collected as he spoke with him. He said so Brian said that Ana was last seen between 6 and 7 a.m. on January 1st, when she took an Uber to Logan Airport. The officer took the phone and address information and all of the identifying information and went and filed the missing police report, and then came back at 6:30 that same night for the recorded interview that we've already found or already heard. Then the seventh witness was Seth Fox, who's a subpoena compliance officer with Lyft. He confirmed that there were no Lyft rides on Ana Walshe's account between December 20th of 22 and January 8th of 23. Then Alyssa Wimmer with Uber testified that there were 2 trips from Ana Walshe's account on December 30th of 22, but there was no other activity between December 20th of 22 and January 8th of 23. The 9th witness was Michael Kenyon of the Cohassett Police Department, and he testified that on January 9th, he went to an apartment complex on Paradise Road in Cohassett, Massachusetts at 3 p.m. to observe the trash compactor and dumpster being loaded onto a flat, and then escorted it to the evidence processing facility. So, I don't know any of the information that the judge is ruling that they're keeping it out of the trial. I don't know any of that information. So you guys can chat about whatever you want to chat about over on my Patreon for free. You can sign up for a free account with my Patreon. There is a trial chat over there. I am not looking at it at all. So you guys can discuss all of this information over there. I'm going in completely blind on this thing. I know absolutely nothing. So I haven't watched any of the pretrial, anything. If they had asked me if I was impartial and if I knew anything about the case, if I had been a juror, I could have said, yes, I know nothing about this case. All right, cracking on. Here we go. Witness number 10 was Amy Waterman, who's a sergeant with the Massachusetts State Police, and she went on January 7th of 23 to the Washington, D.C. residence of Ana Walshe with another officer. It was a 3-story brick townhouse. There was no security on the building. She entered through the basement garage with a code given to her by Brian Walshe. The door going from the garage into the townhome was unlocked, and she noted that the house was furnished. It was neat and tidy. The only notable things were that there were men's clothes in the closet of the main bedroom, and that there were kids' bedrooms as well that were completely furnished and also had toys in them. So they were planning to move to that home. From what I understand, it was the trial of Brian Walshe, being or pleading guilty to fraud that was keeping them from leaving the state. But again, I don't know what I don't know. Then witness number 11 was Peter Capizzoli, who's the owner of the used car dealership that is in front of the Walshe home. He owns the home that the Walshes were renting from him and another home that's on the property. He testified that there was a 6-month lease for $4,800 a month that was paid up front by Brian Walshe's mother, and then they extended the lease for another 6 months at $5,000 a month. And again, Brian was taking the checks to Mr. Capizzoli, who owned the home, but it was his mother that was paying for this rent. He said that he does some repairs on the property. He repaired a leaky faucet, a loose hinge, and then the AC went out, but he found out that somebody had turned the power switch off on the AC, and that's why it wasn't working. But then while he was on vacation in the Caribbean over the New Year's holiday, Brian Walshe called to ask if there was any security on the home or the other properties because his wife was missing. He said she left between 4 and 5 a.m. on January 1st. Now, this is different than what he told the officer who took the missing persons report. So there's already some inconsistency. Then he noted that the house was partially furnished when it was rented, that the basement has outdoor access. And then on cross-examination, he said that he was aware that they were planning to relocate. He also said that if there was a hole in the ceiling, that they would be financially liable for it. And I believe the defense attorney asked him if, when the Walshes moved in, if there was any carpeting in the basement, and he said that there wasn't. I guess that's going to be important later. Just making a note because this information didn't really become important until I saw the bags of evidence that came in later in the day. So then we had Mark Selvaggi with New York Life, who in July 2021 met Brian Walshe through a lead that was online. and sold him a one-term policy for $1 million for Ana Walshe, where Brian would have been the beneficiary. Then he noted that whole life insurance pays out 100% of the time. You can use it as a savings vehicle, which I don't recommend you do that because it's extremely expensive and there's better stuff you could do with your money. I'll let Kiki weigh in on that about how whole life is not a good investment. But anyway, in 2021, Brian Walshe took out a $250,000 whole life policy on Ana Walshe with himself as the beneficiary. On cross-examination, the defense attorney noted that all 3 kids had a whole life policy on them, with the beneficiary being Ana Walshe. We learned earlier that those were $1 million policies. That's kind of weird to me. But then they noted that Brian Walshe had been denied for health insurance several times, which the only reason you would be denied would be for health reasons usually, or because of age, or just makes it prohibitively expensive. But then they noted that Brian Walshe never contacted the life insurance company to cash in on any of the policies. So I'm not reading the comments that have to do with what's going on in the trial. So I'm just kind of scanning chat, but I'm not reading any of the comments about that because I don't want to know anything that I'm not supposed to know yet. I pretty much have to go here in just 1 minute. So I'm just going to say that the last witness was Davis Gould from the State Police Crime Lab, and he processed the vehicle and some of the other bags of evidence. So what I'm going to do is a separate video on that because I do want to show you the pictures of that, and that's going to happen probably later this evening. So thank you guys for being here. I'm sorry that this was super brief, but I'm going to do the really yucky evidence by itself because it needs a little bit more time and consideration. So thanks for being here for my day 3-ish recap, and the bags of evidence recap will come later today. I appreciate you being here. Join me for continued recaps of this case as I catch up. I'm hoping on Monday to be able to watch it live with you guys and do the recaps midday and at the end of the day. So thanks again for being here, and join me again. Take care.